Hello and welcome to another episode of the Chrissie Mayr podcast. We are on iTunes, YouTube, Spotify, and SoundCloud. And if you're listening to us on iTunes right now, please leave a 5-star review, 4 or 5 stars, all the stars, as many stars as you can leave. Appreciate you guys so much. My album, live from January 6th, I've been talking about it. It debuted, I think, March 15th to #1 on Amazon and iTunes. It stayed there for a good 11 days, which I am so proud of and grateful for. And I have you, the fans, to thank for all your help and support. If you bought the album, if you listened, if you even laughed once, that's great. I was dethroned yesterday by blue checkmark Jen Kirkman. She put out her album, something about Gen X. I don't know. And she kind of was like, immediately complaining that she wasn't #1 long enough, that she had then, she thought, been dethroned by some men in comedy. And I was like, you know what? I think it's just good to be positive, and I think it's great to get on #1 at all. Even for a day is a big deal. So the fact that I went a good 10, 11 days is really fucking outstanding. Like, I don't have management, agents, no verification. I don't have the right politics. I'm not like an industry darling. I don't have the support of like Comedy Central or late night spots at all. So pretty amazing how that happened at all. So yeah, and I just came back from a bunch of shows, did a little bit of a mini tour, went to North Carolina, did Raleigh, the city. Good nights. I think I was among the last of their shows in that location. They're going to be moving, but it was great. North Carolina is fun. It's like a great inoffensive state, North Carolina. You know what I mean? Like, it's a great place to go if you just want to lay low. You don't want to make any trouble. You want to raise a family. I went and visited my brother, and the kids hadn't seen the kiddos in like 3 years. So it was good to see them. They're very cute, little mini Mayors. And then I went to Savannah, Georgia. Hung out with my buddy Nick Tavallo. We got lunch. So surreal. I can't believe that's a sentence that came out of my mouth just now. But yeah, we hung out for a little bit. I did a show at the Wormhole in Savannah, Georgia. Savannah is really neat. It's like if you like New Orleans and you like the out drinking and you like to, you know, be kind of like YOLO, like have an adult type weekend, beads and a lot of bachelorette parties there, bachelor parties. People, if you like to go somewhere with your friends where you walk around in the same t-shirt in a group, but you don't quite want to deal with as much puke on the streets and crackheads, then Savannah, Georgia is absolutely has to be a go-to for you because that's the vibe. It's like a more grown-up New Orleans. It's beautiful. All this like is it called Spanish moss coming off the trees? These beautiful kind of like weeping, sweeping trees all over the place. A lot of history. It was really neat. I got to meet Nick DiPaolo's wife. They showed me the inside of their house. It's like gorgeous. She should be an interior designer. She did a lot of research into, I guess, the history of Savannah. Their house could like easily be a museum because just she even looked into the different colors that were popular back in the day. So neat. A lot of antiques. Like she's kind of person that like search online for weeks, months to get like a certain kind of doorknob, and the whole house is like that. So it's very cool to see. So that was neat. And then the Wormhole was cool. It reminded me a lot of the Knitting Factory in Brooklyn. It was kind of like a gritty, dirty feeling like bar that you would, go see a rock band at, but the stage is a bit lower to the ground. The stage is like maybe 2 feet off the ground, whereas like Knitting Factory, it's got to be at least like 4 feet off the ground. So that was really fun. Good times. Great crowds. A lot of fans came out. A lot of FNT people came out. So shout out to all the Friday Night Tights people that I met over the last couple weeks at these shows. Like, you guys are freaking awesome. You really show up. So Savannah was fun. Then I went to Florida, did Side Splitters in Tampa. That was pretty neat because it was like it was like a movie theater. So I was on stage like as if I was the movie. don't know if you guys saw that article about the woman that did like random improvised stand-up when a movie couldn't come on, like that. I know that's probably what you're picturing. It wasn't that. It was good. It was good stand-up. It was a great show. Fun. And then I met up with Jay from Geeks and Gamers, park hopping. We hung out with Ryan Kinnell. We did a little mini tour of Universal Studios, shot some videos, which I still need to put together mine. We just had a blast. That was really fun. I'm starting to like theme parks a little bit more. Just a little bit more. So yeah, thank you to anybody who came out to the shows. Quickly, I want to do a shout out to our sponsor, because if it weren't for our sponsors, we wouldn't be able to do these free podcasts. Let's see, is this the right? Yay, picked the right music, guys. We've seen so many people making ridiculous money from crypto, but did you know it's easy for you to do the same? The Copy My Crypto membership site shows you the exact crypto that YouTuber James McMahon personally holds and allows you to copy him. It's like having a big brother who knows what he's doing. You don't need to know a thing about crypto or how to invest. You just simply do what he does. So I'm going to tell you a little bit more about James. He runs the Crypto with James YouTube channel, which despite heavy censorship has over 15,000 subscribers and 1 million views. Since March of 2020, he's told his viewers to buy 26 crypto coins. Had you put $100 into each one, it would now be worth over 66K. Of the 26 coins, a coin called Phantom was his top pick, and it's gone up 440 times from when he started. That sounds insane. That sounds crazy. I wish I had gotten in on that early. That one call alone has retired a number of people, including guys and girls in their 20s and 30s. Remember, this is all public knowledge. You can go to YouTube and verify this for yourself. So check out the website, and if it looks interesting to you, you too can join the 1,300 members who copy James. So head over to copymycrypto.com/Mayr. That's spelled MAYR. Check it out. You'll not only find proof of everything I've just said, you'll also be able to get full access for just $1. You won't find this offer anywhere else, but act fast because this is a special New Year's offer and it will expire soon. That's copymycrypto.com/MAYR. Don't take this offer lightly. He's the real deal. Go visit the site now. Should I add some ASMR into that? No. I'm not trying to turn you guys on. I'm just trying to get you guys. Well, I am. I'm trying to get you guys turned on to crypto because it's the future, baby. It's the future. You know who else is the future? Our guest. I'm so excited to have her on. She is a big proponent of the Second Amendment, self-defense, victim advocacy. She knows all about online safety awareness. She's a Twitcher. She's a streamer. She's a licensed private investigator. There's nothing this gal can't do. Welcome to the show, BXBullet.
Hey,
Hi.
I am so sorry I'm late and look like crap.
Stop it.
I had another surgery 2 days ago. And so like I was kind of in a drug-induced stupor when you invited me on. And I didn't and then so you said like
You're like, I wouldn't have agreed if I were not heavily on drugs.
You said like 3 p.m. And then I was like, yeah, sure. And then I go back to sleep and I start dreaming about what does 3 p.m. mean?
I know exactly what you're talking about when you're like, where am I? What time zone is it? What is happening? But you look outstanding. Like, I can't believe you have a sling and cleavage at the same time.
Thank you. Yeah. It complements each other, you know?
It's amazing.
Complement each other. Yeah.
Yeah. I met BXBullet at the Odyssey games. God, this was like early February. I was judging. The contestants were put through various feats of strength, feats of, I don't know, disgustingness. You guys had to eat bugs, like big ones and little ones.
I still think about that to this day. It was one of the worst things I've ever done in my life.
Oh no.
I think just because I got so sick afterwards.
You threw up after.
Yeah, I was very sick all night, violently ill. And now I'm avoiding shellfish because I'm wondering if I could have some kind of allergy, maybe, you know?
Oh no. So
because that's what Brittany told me.
We triggered an allergy for you?
But I dodged that final. I did dodge the final challenge, so I would have lost that one.
Oh my god, the final challenge was you had to tattoo, the Odyssey logo onto your body, like Lauren Southern, who I did the judging with. And by the way, I'm taking no credit for any of the it was not my idea to do any of these. None of these contests were my idea. I'm just simply there to judge and provide witty repartee. But yeah, Lauren Southern, I think, and maybe her crew came up with these contests. And yeah, for the final one, she sent them little do-it-yourself tattoo machines, and it was God, I can't remember his name, but there were two.
Counterpoints.
It was Counterpoints
And Dick
versus
Masterson.
Dick Masterson, and Dick Masterson pretended that he was
Yeah.
tattooing himself. It was like whoever did it first. The whole time, Dick Masterson pretended to tattoo himself. He didn't do it at
I
all.
mean,
And then
Counterpoints did a great job.
yeah, and he
It was
did it
like he was a professional tattoo artist.
he did it squarely on his
Yeah.
chest, which is a noticeable spot. So I don't know if he was gonna cover that up or just lean in to the
Lean
Odyssey
into it,
logo.
man. Just get it completed, right?
And I think he won $10,000 and
Yeah.
perhaps
See, I would have lost anyway. So I would have made it to the final. I would have started tattooing and then I would have still lost.
because I was thinking like, all right, what if you do tattoo yourself? How much does the average tattoo cover up cost somebody? Because it's like, what is that what all your money would go to is just getting the
Right.
thing off you? That's crazy. I
Yeah.
don't have any
Well, this
tattoos. Not
time
that
I'm gonna be
yeah.
taking it a little bit easier because I know last time I did the Odyssey Games was like a week after my surgery, and then I had to get the surgery revised.
Wow.
So I
Yeah.
had to take it a little bit easier.
Do you wanna talk
Yeah.
about what's going on with your arm? Because I feel like you've been dealing with this arm situation for a couple months now.
Well, yeah, so, like, I mean, it's kinda random, but, like, I had a blood clot in my arm, which was just out of nowhere, and, because of that, it, like, aggravated the nerve, so he went in to, like, decompress the nerve or whatever. So that's what I had the first time, which was kinda minor, but then it didn't get better, and I noticed that my ulnar nerve, you could see it under the skin, like a little worm, and,
What made you, realize you had a blood clot in your arm?
it was big and puffy and red and
Oh,
swollen
wow.
and painful,
Okay.
yeah. And, so then I went back to the surgeon and was like, "Is this supposed to happen?" He's like, "No." Jesus fucking Christ. So they went back in 2 days ago, and then when I woke up, he said it was one of the worst things he'd ever seen. He said my nerve was just floating in a pool of fluid, like a broken guitar string. That's the word he used. Hey, kitty.
What? Oh, look
So,
at your
yeah, now I have
cat.
to be a little bit more careful, I think, and then it's gonna be 4 to 6 weeks.
I'm
But
just
yeah,
taking it
so
easy.
no, I'm in excruciating pain.
Damn.
Yeah, I'm drugged. I'm on Percocets. Hi, chat,
Hi, chat.
everybody.
She
Hi, everybody.
she agreed to this podcast under drugs. Oh,
It's fine.
no.
I'm used to it by now because this is my 3rd surgery in a year,
Wow.
so that's fine.
Does it
They don't phase me. Hey,
okay.
kitty, kitty.
Oh, man. I hope it heals well, and then is there anything you miss doing other than, like,
Shooting.
not having yeah. Okay, that's the big one.
Yeah, I probably won't be able to shoot for about 6 months.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
How did you get into shooting? Are you from like, were you raised in a house where, your dad shot or your
Oh, yeah.
mom, like, your family was into it?
Oh, yeah. My whole family shoots. Yeah. My dad would take me out when I was little to the ranch, and I always just like the second that I started shooting with my dad at the ranch, little 22s or whatever, I loved it. So I actually just did a YouTube video about my whole progression because I get asked this question all the time. So I just made a YouTube video about like
You're
my
like, "I'm
whole
sick
like
of
my
answering it."
origins and then all the way through competitive shooting where I was on a pro team for a while. So I was a professional sponsored shooter for a while. And I've done a lot of really cool stuff. But yeah, I started out with my dad and just always liked shooting. So
I'm gonna bring up your YouTube channel so people can check it out and subscribe. If you could sum up what kind of content is on your YouTube channel
well,
for
I
people
like
who
you
don't
said, I
know.
do a lot of stuff. Sometimes I call out little shitty kids on YouTube, but that's just a hobby. That's just a secondary hobby. Mainly I talk about online advocacy. We do a lot of like right now I'm on like a mission to bring down pedophiles that are so prevalent on these platforms and predators and stuff. So I've
Yeah,
been
we need more
publicly
people doing that.
yeah, I've been publicly battling, calling out predators and nasty people on the internet. I also do, I talk about guns, talk about self-defense. Like you said, I'm a private investigator. So I've done some videos talking about what that's like. I'm actually a career scientist. So I do work, I have a biology degree. I work for a life sciences company during the day, stream at night. And then in my spare time, I take on these, PI security jobs. I'm a licensed level 4 security officer. So I'm a bodyguard. And I'm about to start. Oh, I'm so excited to announce this officially. I'm about to start my adventures in bounty hunting.
What?
Yes. Yes. No, like no cap. Like I'm gonna
How does
start.
how does one become a bounty hunter?
Well, so people ask me, how do you do so many things? But they're all kind of intertwined, right? So, like, I started shooting, and this is where I met my self defense enthusiast people and started getting into self defense. And I was doing a lot of personal self defense training, and then I moved into training others. So, I've been doing personal safety for a long time. And then I, met my current security boss in the competitive shooting area, and he wanted to hire me because there's a big demand for female officers, for female investigators, female bounty hunters, female security officers, because like bodyguards, right? If you're a woman, you probably want a woman to be on your team so she can go into the changing room with you, the bathroom with you, stuff like that, right?
Oh, right. If especially if you're
Um,
worried someone is gonna follow you
yeah.
in there.
Well, the other thing is that I can blend in really well, whereas these big old tough dudes can't. So they'll usually have one guy in a security uniform who's like drawing fire, right? Like this guy's real obvious, but then I'm just like sitting in the corner chilling like this. What's up? So I do plain clothes.
Okay.
And kind of just like sit, like they call me the ace in the hole. So, and then the licenses all kind of intertwined too. So, I got my security license first, level 4 security license. And then from there, I can get my private investigator license, which is just like a few more training hours. And then I started doing private investigator work. Well, after you do that, you can get bounty hunting. So it's all kind of intertwined in the same licenses in Texas. So,
And by bounty hunting, a lot of people hear that they go, wait, so people can hire Becca to just be like, go, go shoot my ex, Like, is that what
no,
you're
that's a mercenary. You're
Oh,
confusing mercenary.
I've
Seriously.
just watched a lot of Mandalorian, I guess. I'm
No,
like,
bounty hunters, so they do operate in kind of a gray area, right? But so basically if you get arrested and charged with a crime and get on bail, and then you jump bail, so you don't show up for your court date, then the people who have your bail hire bounty hunters to secure you.
okay. So you're good at just getting people who like owe money or like need to be at a court date.
They don't owe money, they're criminals who miss their court date.
Okay. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
confusing bounty hunter with hitman. Thank you, chat. Like it all sounds really cool to me. Wow. So what kind of a person would like hire I'm imagining like a celebrity or someone who yeah, maybe they have like a crazy ex and they just need some 24/7 security.
For security, mostly we've done some like executive protection, but it's not usually personal. It's a more often like a executive type of stuff. So like big corporate parties. South like I live in Austin, so South by Southwest and ACL parties are big here, right? They need security. And they don't want people or like really there's like a lot of companies in Austin that are real trendy and hip, and they don't want big security, bulky security officers hanging around. So they want
Hmm.
somebody who blends in a little bit more and isn't wearing security clothes to just be there in case somebody gets rowdy, in case somebody starts shooting, in case somebody gets hurt. I've had to patch up injuries and stuff like that.
Whoa.
Yeah,
I
we
watched this video once about like if you get shot, what to do. Like you actually have to like stick something in the hole.
yeah,
Like
plug the hole. It's true. Yeah,
oh,
whatever you can, dirt, clothes.
dirt?
Yeah.
Really
If there's
dirt?
nothing else, but I mean, if I have a first aid pack, so I carry blood control, I carry tourniquet, I carry compression garment, I carry chest seal, I carry everything I need to fix a gunshot wound on the fly. So I won't have to plug you with dirt because I have other things. I have quick clot.
Damn.
Yeah, so I have a first aid, first responder, blood control, Red Cross certified, all that stuff.
That's really neat. I used to know CPR. I was a lifeguard, but I have not it's definitely expired CPR at this point. Like, I could do some chest compressions, some like, I know how to tilt the head back and do breaths. I can do Heimlich. I could do Heimlich on
There you go.
myself. I learned,
Yeah.
yeah, you gotta get a chair and just
Yeah, chair.
hump a chair until it
Hump a
comes out.
chair.
That's what you guys this is what you're learning, that if you're choking by yourself, and I hope this works, yeah, you have to, like, basically get nothing with wheels, like a stable chair, and, just try to put the top of the chair, I don't know, like, under your belly button or,
Mhm.
like, in
Like, right
there.
above in the diaphragm
Okay,
area?
right
Yeah,
above, and then just
right
basically
there.
like, "Huh," and
Yeah.
then hope that you don't die alone, choking and humping a
That
chair.
would be the worst way to die, right? Choking on, like, a especially if it was, like, a hot dog or something
Oh,
embarrassing.
like, well,
She
I guess
choked
she's,
on a hot dog.
yeah, she's off her diet. I think it's this I think, like, some sort of asphyxiation would be the worst way to be discovered. I think, like,
Like
wow, this
autoerotic?
person yeah, like, this per like,
Mm,
wow, you died trying to get off in, like, a kinky way.
yeah.
I'd rather I think I'd rather choke, but choking sucks. It's like, man, you couldn't just chew it a little bit more? You had to just wolf it down?
The way I've always looked at it is that I'm dead,
True.
so, like, whatever, right?
So it's like, you guys deal with it. I never
Yeah.
think about that, like, what I maybe it's good, maybe it means I'm living my life decently, like, I'm not thinking if I died suddenly, like, what would I have to hide? Like,
Yeah, I haven't
nothing.
thought
I'm
of that
not worried.
either.
My internet search history, go for it, like, there's nothing weird there.
I pretty
Like
much do everything live on on Twitch
yeah,
anyways. Like, I Google everything live, so people be like, "Oh, that's why she was Googling that weird shit." It's like, it
yeah.
was on a VOD. There's an explanation, I swear.
Yeah, the weird stuff I Google, it's all just like, what was the tallest clown? It's, like, weird stuff for, like, jokes or
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And everybody knows about my Hitachi magic wand and my nightstand, like, that's all public knowledge. They'd
Yeah,
probably
I'm
be
not
like,
too
"Wow, this bitch has a lot of candles," like, "Oh, is she planning a seance?"
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
and they'd probably be like, "Wow, kind of a lot of stuffed animals for a grown woman." That would be the other thing.
Well, see, I have a kid, right? I've got a 4-year-old daughter too. So,
Aw,
right. So, like, I
yeah.
recently had to make a will. Yeah.
Right.
So, yeah, that was interesting. I was because they were asking me all these questions, like, okay, well, who gets your guns? And I was like, shit, like, who deserves my guns? Who
Right.
deserves them,
How many
right?
do you have? And
Like
if it's not s
6
okay,
or
yeah,
and I wanted to go to my daughter, but like she's only 4, so like she has to have somebody to hold on to them. But also they were asking me questions like if you're in a vegetative state
oh, no.
and we're keeping you alive, but the doctor says you might pull through, what do you want to do? And I'm like, dude, this is insane. They were asking me all these different permutations of this question. I'm just like, what the fuck? I don't know, bro.
Wow.
It was so hard to answer that. I was like, I don't know. And then they were like, what if the doctor says you don't have a good prognosis? But I'm like, dude, okay, like this is too much. Like it was like so much.
Yeah, I guess you just figure, like, how long of being on a machine or, like, being in a vegetative state, like, and then, like, how long did things start to, like, really atrophy and get, like, fucked up? I mean, like, when does your brain start going bad? I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. For
Yeah, I would
sure.
just be like, you guys just flip a coin." You said
Right.
you're a 4-year-old, it's a little too soon for her to be familiar uh, with firearms. How early can kids learn?
I've taught kids as young as so I've also done a lot of coaching and I coach young girls in my club. I had a club, a women's pistol club for a while. And a lot of the young girls, probably as young as 5.
Aw,
At that age though, it's like safety, don't ever touch a gun. Safety isn't like finger off the trigger, kids. It's like, here's what to do if you see a gun. Don't ever touch it, leave the room, call an adult. Um, but then, we get them behind the guns, so like little 22 rifles. So we just kind of hold them. We just do everything for them except pull the trigger, and then they shoot little balloons. You know what I mean? At that
okay.
age. But as far as like actual shooting, I mean, probably not until they're probably more like 9 or 10. It really depends on the kid. It depends on the kid. I've seen kids really young start shooting and just be amazing at it. But like my kid, she's kind of spastic. Like she's like kind of a wild card. Like I don't know if I'd want her to start as soon, right? Want her to like calm down a bit first. So
Yeah,
really it's up to the parents to decide when their kids, mature enough and big enough.
right. What are some misconceptions about assault rifles? Because I think like every time I think I don't know, Democrats get talking on this issue, I just feel like there's so much misinformation out there, and I feel like a lot of people who aren't familiar with guns think that more things, like more guns are assault rifles than there really are, and I think people
Well,
don't know about attachments. It's just like it seems like a lot to know.
Well, assault rifle, so I assume you're talking about assault weapon. So assault
Yeah.
rifle has a very specific definition, and that's it's a rifle of intermediate caliber with a selective fire capability. So that's like your overseas like full auto like military weapons, right? Um, you can have assault rifles here, but you have to have special tax stamps and special background checks, and like it costs a lot of money. Most of the time, what they're talking about is assault weapon, which is a made up fairy tale word that politicians use to make things sound scary, like my AR-15 sounds scary. But in reality, it's, assault rifle. AR doesn't stand for assault rifle, it stands for Armalite rifle. That's a common misconception. People think an AR-15 is an assault rifle, but it's actually not.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah. It's a sporting rifle. Like mine, you can't really see it from this angle, but I use mine for, competition, for example. So, it's a civilian rifle that's, the biggest misconception though, besides like obviously the terminology, is that they always want to grab the AR-15s because they're scary sounding, right? But in reality, rifles of all types account for a very small portion of gun deaths. In fact, the vast majority of gun deaths are caused by handguns.
Hmm.
So why would you even go for the ones that cause so few deaths per year, right? I mean, it's in the hundreds. It's very, very low. Like the criminals aren't buying $1,000, AR-15s and using it in crime. They're stealing cheap handguns and using
Right.
it. So that's probably the biggest thing, is that so many people falsely believe that AR-15s are killing thousands of Americans each year, and it's an epidemic of AR-15 violence. Because that's what you would think if you didn't know anything, if you didn't know any better. That's why we have these gun advocacy groups. And the best ones right now are the Firearms Policy Coalition, the FPC, and Gun Owners of America, GOA. They are both very, very good groups that help educate the public. And they also file lawsuits against districts and states that make unconstitutional gun laws, and are actually actively out there fighting against some of these unconstitutional gun laws that are coming through. And they've been successful. So if you want to learn more, I would definitely go to either Firearms Policy Coalition website. They have a lot of really good resources for learning about the common misconceptions. And the Gun Owners of America, also a really great organization. Now, these have kind of overtaken the NRA because, as we all know, the NRA
Hmm.
is full of fucking old fuds who are lobbyists and evil as fuck. So,
Interesting. Okay.
yeah, we don't really do the NRA anymore. It's GOA and FPC, do a lot of really good stuff for gun advocacy.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Mm.
So the GOA and the FPC, and what does the FPC stand for again?
Firearms Policy Coalition. They're
Oh,
awesome.
okay. Awesome. I will check those out. Yeah, guns were very scary to me, the idea of them for a long time. But then it was part of my sort of getting out of my liberal brainwashing. It's like, no, like what, like once you own a house, I'm not there yet, but it's like, yeah, of course. It's like you have, and especially if you have like a family or loved ones to protect, even
Yeah.
if it's just you.
Yeah.
Um, there's just so many
Yeah.
reasons
I mean,
being a
for me, like, I'm a self-defense advocacy, and I've done women's self-defense advocacy for a very long time, right? And the biggest thing for me is trying to convince women that like guns aren't scary. Like, just go try it. I think, I think that if you should come to Texas and shoot one with me. You'd have a
Yeah, I was just
blast. It would be
there.
so much fun.
I've been to
And
the Austin shooting range. That was maybe 6 months ago or so.
yeah. Well, yeah, like come out and shoot some really fun guns. And the problem is it's kind of sad, but like, I've done a lot of firearms training for women. And unfortunately, what inspires women to come out for the first time is often like they've been raped, they've been robbed, they've been stalked, assaulted, burglarized, whatever. And so they've already gone through a trauma, and getting a gun and training is like a reaction for them to the trauma, and trying to, and it can be a really good part of therapy to become empowered, and they want to feel like they're in control of their safety, which is great. It's almost as effective as therapy, learning how to shoot or learning how to defend yourself. But at the same time, I wish that more women would be proactive and learn how to defend themselves, and learn how to protect themselves before they become victims, because some of those, not all of them obviously, but some perhaps could have been prevented, if we could have just gotten self-defense training early on. So that's kind of what we try to do, is like advocate for proactive self-defense, right? Because
That makes
everybody thinks
sense.
it's never going to happen to them. Everybody thinks it's not going to happen to them. But I've seen so many horrific things that it's like, I just want everybody to be able to defend themselves. That's it.
Yeah. What's a good place to start? Like a Krav Maga Groupon? I
Oh
had one of
God, no,
those a couple of
please,
years ago.
please no.
They're like, it's great for women because you're smaller.
I have a
Just
funny story about that. So like back when I was first starting, I did a Krav Maga Groupon class, and it was on disarming, right? So I don't know why. It was just like the first class was like for disarming a handgun, which good God. Jesus. Don't ever take a Krav Maga disarming seminar, okay? I had this 90-pound girl across from me, just kind of like holding the plastic gun, like, okay. And I was like, oh, this is easy. Look how easy I took the gun from her, right? So then I had this like, oh, I could take a gun from somebody in my head. Well, when I started doing actually really serious gun training, I started doing like serious self-defense training. I was doing airsoft, right? And I tried to take a gun from somebody like that, and I got shot right in the tit. Okay. So like I was like, well, that didn't fucking work. So the moral of the story is Krav Maga is gimmicky and doesn't work. Okay.
okay,
But
okay. Good to
my
know.
suggestion would be to seek out a women's self-defense class from a reputable source, which is kind of hard because some of them are really like overpriced. I think number one cue that it could be a gimmick is that it's overpriced. If
Hmm.
it's overpriced, then it's probably not good training. I
What's
know it sounds
overpriced? Like
counterintuitive.
more than $30 a class?
If it's like $100, $200, I would say that it's a gimmick, right?
Okay.
But definitely look around, get some reviews, and try to find a good class that does force on force, which is actually where you're with another person using kind of full force, right? You're both trying to win type of stuff. So I've done a lot of that training, and it is a higher level. I have been injured. I would also say jujitsu is great. So like if you're a woman right now, there's a great class out there by Gracie Jiu-Jitsu.
Oh.
They put together a women's empowerment class. It's called a pink belt. And it sounds really frilly and stupid, but it's actually awesome because they teach you the most valuable Gracie Jiu-Jitsu moves. And they specifically tailor it towards a women's self-defense situation. Someone is grabbing you and trying to pull you into a car. Somebody's on top of you, and you need to get them off and run away, right? So it's not going to be like gi type of, there it is, women empowered. Yeah.
Ooh, okay.
Yes. So this is a really great program that just came out actually. And I would really, really recommend this over Krav Maga. The only problem is it's hard to find
Okay.
a place that does it. But this is what I would recommend to people now, if you can find it. Otherwise, a women's self-defense class is better than nothing.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
But
So yeah, you
some of
can go
them are
on here,
really,
graceuniversity.com, enter by location. Let's see if I'm gonna say New York
oh, you're
City.
going to find tons, probably.
Ooh, okay. Yeah, I
Yeah.
see that's one on Long Island, New York. All right, all right. This is good. Yeah, so they've got a lot. They've got a good amount.
Yeah. So this is a cool program because it's tailored towards women. There's probably a lot of armchair men in chat going, "Woo, right, but shut the fuck up."
Oh,
Yeah.
no, they get it.
Yeah. So
They get
like
it.
for women, right? You definitely want, yeah, it's one thing to like start jujitsu. Like my 4-year-old, she's about to start jujitsu when she turns 5 because I want her to know jujitsu, right? But most of us, like our age, like women, like busy, like we don't have time to become black belts in jujitsu. Sorry, it's not gonna fucking happen, right? So the next best thing is to be able to do something like that that helps you learn the most important things quickly so that you can, learn how to defend yourself against like a most likely attack scenario, like somebody grabs you in the park while you're jogging or, something like that. You don't need to
Yeah.
become a ninja.
That's why I just, like, don't jog because I'm like, "You know what? I don't wanna get
So
I
that's a
don't wanna
good
get
that's a good
grabbed."
strategy too.
Super chat. Thank you, Clint Torres. Happy to hear your work made number one, but you've always been number one to me. Thank you, Clint. Oh, from Pat Maloney, bullets, blades, Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. What is your carry?
I carry a Glock 43X with the S15 mag extension. So it's a Glock 43, which is kind of similar to the one up there, small frame, but it carries 15 rounds, which is hella awesome.
Do you think certain guns are better for women than others?
Yeah. Well, it depends on what you're using it for. So if you're carrying it or you have it by your bedside, right? If you have it by your bedside for home defense, I recommend a larger pistol, like a full size. Obviously, if you're carrying it, you're going to have to go with something smaller. But say rather than saying there's one I recommend, I'd say there's ones I don't recommend. And a lot of times, unfortunately, if women go to like a gun store to buy a gun, they'll give you like the smallest, cutest little pink fucking piece of shit because they're like, oh, you're a woman, right? But a lot of people don't realize that the smaller the gun, the lighter the gun, the heavier the recoil, the harder it is to shoot. So
Really?
bigger guns, bigger
Oh.
handguns, easier because it has more weight to absorb the recoil. The smaller it is, the more you're absorbing all that recoil, right? It makes sense with physics and shit, right?
Yeah.
Physics and shit, right?
Yeah.
Um,
If you have a
so
tiny bag, then you have to
definitely
be yeah.
these tiny little guns can be like the worst ones. But I like Glock. A lot of women like Sig. Sig's also a great choice. So there's some really good choices out there for guns. But whether you're a man or a woman, if you're smaller in frame, you're going to have to go with a smaller size gun. Whereas a bigger person can get away with a bigger gun. It just depends on your stature.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I think I tried to, like, register to get a carry license, and then I just, like, lost the paperwork, but I think I wanna try again, even though it might be impossible in New York, like, I wanna at least, like,
It's
give it a
awful in New
whirl.
York. The GOA and the FPC, dude, they're out fighting lawsuits against the New York laws all the time
It's
because
crazy.
they have an epic one going on because New York is trying they're trying to challenge New York as being unconstitutional in that they require like extreme personal circumstances in order to get your concealed carry license. In other words, you have to prove you're being stalked, prove um
What
you
about
have
if
to
I
go
have,
through
like,
all these
nat
hoops.
what if I have, like, people on Twitter calling me fat? Can I use that as proof that I'm in extreme circumstances?
You should bring that up to the court, Supreme Court.
Yeah.
That would be a breakthrough case.
I'd be like, "Look, these people are calling me fat. What am I supposed to do?"
Oh, I get it too. It's okay.
Yeah, they don't get it. It's
No.
hard when it's just like and also, like, picture to picture, I swear to God, I look like a totally different person depending on what I'm wearing or,
I
like,
do too. I'm a
the
chameleon
day.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you mentioned before, you enjoy I mean, I too enjoy sort of well, not really, like, taking down pedos. I remember I got a lot of heat for pointing out Chrissy Teigen deleted, like, 60,000 something tweets, like, a year no, might have been 2 years
I
ago,
remember
beginning
that.
of the
The
pandemic.
cuties thing.
Woo! Yeah, so I just like pointing out hypocrisy and just, like, observing people, especially, like, celebrities, because I don't know, I feel like
Yeah.
we should not have so much patience and give so many chances to celebrities, and
Right.
there's somebody who, uh, actually was was kind of involved with the Odyssey games, and I came to know him through Lauren Southern, through doing a couple of her streams, because she would bring him on kind of as, like, the lefty take, like, she would always have this guy on, "Oh, well, he's a lefty, and he's, he's a good counterpoint
One
or
of the good
whatever."
ones.
Yeah, one of the good ones, and then I hear it, I've heard him a few times, and I was on a couple streams with him, and I was like, I don't know if he's one of the good ones, especially, and so the guy I'm talking about is this guy named Destiny, and he's on a lot of streams. He's somebody that, like, I guess a lot of people talk about, and he kind of lost me because it was himself and this other streamer named Stardust, who also was on the
Mhm.
Odyssey games, and to me, they were kind of defending pedos, and
Yeah, I'm very familiar
they would say things like, and
with the
I'm only giving a
situation.
lot of exposition in case, like, someone listening has just no clue who these people are, and
Yeah.
say things like, "Well, if you have 1 drink, does that make you an alcoholic?" And, like, when I hear things like that, I'm just like, "Wow," like, you can't compare the 2 at all,
Mhm.
and, I don't know, what was your kind of experience with him? When did you first kind of, like, learn of him? Do you interact much? It just
Oh,
seems like
man, it's so much.
these folks, like, they love to debate. They think it's about the debate, and it's almost like, "Oh, we're playing devil's advocate," but it's like, ugh, why do we need to
Okay.
be advocating for, like, the worst kind of
Right.
people and
Yeah.
behavior?
What I mean, I've been open about it. I'll say it, okay? Destiny and I used to be cool. We used to be friends. I used to watch his content and I used to like some of his takes until he started to drift off into what I call like hot take territory. It's something that I call YouTube derangement syndrome, right? It happens when a creator who's that big and has so many orbiters, they start gravitating towards the hottest takes, right? The most performative stances, because when they do that they get more likes, more views, more the more they scream, the higher their view count goes, right? And I started to notice that he was doing that a lot when he would talk to me and engage with me, because we used to have good faith discussions, and then all of a sudden he would just start screaming at me and calling me like psychotic over Alec Baldwin. Like, it was really weird. So and I noticed that he was starting to drift into this kind of performative area where, like, it does he believe the things he says, or is he
Hmm.
just saying them just to be edgy, right? So if you know this, but like Destiny just got banned off Twitch permanently the other
Wow,
day.
permanently? Oh,
Yeah.
no, I didn't know that.
He attacked the trans community, and when he was doing it I was thinking to myself, dude, he's going fucking nuclear, bro. Like, are you trying to get banned? Because there's some things that on Twitch you really can't fight against too strongly, or you'll get banned, right? Like, same thing with YouTube's
Was
got
he
their
calling
shit.
them names per se, or was he, like,
It was I
messing with
don't it was
pronouns?
just like he was just going nuclear, and I was just like, holy shit, right? But the problem with Destiny is that, like, he's got these fans who become very toxic and attack like me and a lot of other people in particular. So yeah, we have bad blood. Finally I told him that I thought he was a performative loser and to fuck off. And that got a lot of his orbiters mad, and so they attack me on Twitter. You've probably seen them dogpile me on Twitter. Pretty much everything I tweet out, I get dogpiled to some extent from that community. So it's a really toxic community. That said, I don't really believe in deplatforming unless somebody's a pedophile or a criminal. So I don't support his ban. I don't think he should be banned, but his community is absolute shit. And I'll probably get trolled and hated on because of saying this, but it's okay. Whatever. I think he's an asshole.
Yeah, from Twitch, yeah,
Also, as far as the
Twitch.
pedophile stuff
Mhm.
goes, this all happened when Mr. Girl was starting to float around, and I was on to this guy for a long time, the Mr. Girl pedophile dude, because he had some really hot takes about how cool Cuties was and how sexually aroused he was by Cuties. And then he kind of was like, well, it was a joke that I was saying it, but I was serious. But I was serious about it, but it was a joke. And it's like, what, dude? No.
Wait, who was this
And
guy that you're talking about? This, Mr. Girl person? I have no
Yeah, so
background?
he
Okay.
got banned. He got banned coincidentally after I called him out on Twitter. I really think it was a coincidence. I don't think I had anything to do with this ban, but people were really quick to like, because of the timing, blame me for it, blame me for his ban. Um, which whatever. I mean, I don't care if I got him banned because like he's fucking gross. And like all of that sympathizing stuff with Stardust and Destiny you're talking about has to do with him.
Oh,
So they were
wow.
trying to
Okay.
platform him and listen to him. And his whole thing is like, pedophiles aren't necessarily dangerous. And to me, that's a
Okay.
really
Yeah.
dangerous thing to say because I'm a big First Amendment type of person. Like, but even though First Amendment doesn't apply to your ability to speak on Twitch and YouTube, we know this. But at the same time, like, I don't want people to get banned for things. I want them to be able to say their piece. But there's a fine line between saying things that I feel like are very harmful to kids that could groom kids in a way into thinking that pedophiles are just like a sexuality and they're not dangerous. That kind of talk to me is actually damaging to society. That's like the one exception I'll take to maybe people who shouldn't have platforms. They're like open pedophiles, right? And also criminals and people who are scamming and using the internet for crime. I struggled with that because I've been, I'm anti-cancel culture. I'm anti-deplatforming, and people pushed me on that. Well, if you're anti-deplatforming, then why do you support? And I actually had to really think about it, right? Like,
Hmm.
like I guess I am pro deplatforming if it comes to kids being in danger. And I think that kids are in danger in this space in general. And I don't think it's responsible to talk about pedophilia in a way where they're joking, making jokes about raping babies like this guy was,
Ugh.
and just,
Wow. Yeah.
making sick jokes about it and trying to like basically minimize the damage that child sex assault has on our society. And to me that's harmful to kids. So
Yeah. And how is that any different than, like, you making jokes about, like, threatening to off somebody, you know what I mean? It's like
right.
it should all be taken pretty seriously, and that's pretty
Yeah,
gross.
I mean it's the same kind of thing. Like if you were making violent jokes like that, they wouldn't allow it on the platform either, right? It's this is a platform. This isn't like a pro free speech platform because you agree to terms of services when you
Hmm.
sign up to be a creator here or a chatter, right? So like he got banned not because of me. I didn't deplatform him. He got banned because he broke the terms of services with the website. Like that's not, it had nothing to do with me, right? But at the same time, like I feel not like not like they should be deplatformed, but like if they're going to be saying their piece, my piece should be able to be just as loud, and I should
Mm.
be able to say I don't think that you should be online saying that shit. You
Yeah,
know?
that makes sense. Was this similar to you had mentioned, like, when we first kind of sort of met, like, around the time of the Odyssey games, that there was a situation where a guy was, like, he had somehow gotten, like, photos of your daughter? Is that
Yeah, that kind of started my
similar?
whole venture
Okay.
into trying to bring down predators. Is my run-in with the real predator online. And I've been struggling with this guy because he makes new accounts and he's just very pervasive. He's a scammer
Like a
and
content
a
creator, or, like,
creep.
what was
Yep.
his like, is does
Yep.
he have are there any patterns, like, that people if they find some like, what should people look out for, and, like, how did this person come to target you?
So it's a really long story. There's a YouTube video about it on my YouTube, but I'll give you the TLDR. If you're interested though, it's actually like Netflix worthy. Like I mean, it's like Tiger King level of insanity, right? Like that's why it's hard for me to summarize. But basically, he targeted a group of streamers on Twitch with a scam, saying that he had a stream team and all these sponsors, which ended up being fake. And he was getting a bunch of people to promote him and help him build his channel, I guess, by having this fake stream team. And he was getting everybody's addresses to send them like energy drinks and stuff like
Mm.
that, which we never ended up getting. But then he had all of
Wow.
our addresses, right? Because we filled out application to be on the stream team. Well, it turns out this guy is a career con man, career scammer, And I started to see weird shit that he had been saying to kids. So I started to dig deeper, and I found a bunch of inappropriate messages he'd been sending back and forth to kids. I found that he'd been tricking kids into signing fake contracts to play Fortnite for him. And the kids would give him his address. And then when the kids would try to leave the team, he would threaten them with their addresses. He would send
Oh
sex
God.
toys to their addresses, send animal
Yeah.
shit to their houses to get them in trouble. Weird shit. So we tried to call him out, and he just went nuclear. And
Who was this
like
person?
his name is Matt Brockett, but he changes his usernames up around all the time, so you can't find him right now because he went ghost after this last round of virality.
Okay.
It goes viral every so often, and then like we get the pressure on him to be enough to where he disappears. But yeah, the whole story is on my YouTube. It's pretty intense, and also the struggle I went through with Twitch trying to get them to ban him, ban his account. What? You're gonna ban like people for saying, cracker, or you can't say that on
Right.
Twitch, right? But like you're not gonna ban this guy who's literally like
Yeah, being
scamming
a
people,
creep. Mhm.
harassing kids. He did that thing with my daughter. Um, so he was, we had a lot of underage people telling us how he shared nude photos with them. I mean, just creepy stuff.
Whoa.
We went to the police. The police didn't do shit. Like it was just this whole ordeal. So the whole story's up on my YouTube. But yeah, it pretty much it's pretty much what started me down this rabbit hole of like the harm that's happening to kids online, like the dangers kids are in online. I started doing more private investigator work, with specifically towards like missing kids, and I saw cases of like little girls who got groomed on Discord through Valorant gaming and then went missing, and now
Whoa.
they're in sex trafficking somewhere. They're gone or they're dead or who knows, right? So grooming and sex trafficking is a huge problem. And like I've said many times, right, bad guys don't sit in white vans on the side of the road anymore. They sit behind their keyboard. This is how kids get wrapped into abductions and sex trafficking now, because it's much harder for law enforcement to track and find people. They've got really, really good solid methods of hiding. Even on Twitch there's giant pedophile rings,
Oh
which I'm
man.
just now learning about, right? But I've been starting to work behind the scenes with some of these pedo hunter groups. Have you heard of like People versus Predators?
No.
And so like I've been trying to do some undercover work for people. Like basically I just catfish and pretend like I'm a 13-year-old girl or something, right? Um
Wow. Yeah, and
trying to do
it's not
this.
just grooming, and it's not just like, legit like kidnapping and disappearance, although that it like happens and is horrible. It's also like these predators like convince these kids to like take photos of themselves
Right.
and send
Yep.
them to them that can be used who knows where, or used for blackmail or
Yep.
just
Sextortion
yeah.
and blackmail. That's the number one source of child pornography proliferation now. Because what they can do is they can get them to send one picture and then start blackmailing them and they'll say stuff like, I'll send all these pictures to your parents, your family, your classmates. And it's actually like a very like kids have committed suicide, over that. So it's really, really harmful to society in a lot of ways. It's a big problem. Like the law enforcement does not have a good enough hold on it. So
Yeah, it just never seems like they're doing enough. Got a couple of super chats from Legion Talk, 2 excellent content creators I've had the pleasure of interviewing. Glad your surgery went well.
thank you.
Legion, can't wait for your new arm. Ruben Christopher Haynes for 20 questions. When people tell you that something can't be done, how does that motivate you? Who inspired you more? Mom, dad, both, other? And then congrats on number 1, Chrissy. Much admiration to you, Becca. Hope you heal soon. Love to all.
Um Honestly, when people talk shit, it like I'm one of those people that's definitely motivated by shit talking. Like people telling me you suck, you'll never be anything, you'll never, you're a liar. you're not really a shooter, you're just making this shit up or whatever. It just makes me want to keep going. It just kind of makes me like motivated to keep going. You know what I mean? Haters definitely drive me. I'm one of those types. Um,
Yeah.
my parents both inspired me for sure. I mean, my dad always taught me self-defense from an early age. So, um, yeah, probably my dad when it comes to self-defense and stuff.
Wow. I mean, okay, well, let's see. When something can't be done. I don't I don't know that people are telling me things can't be done. I just feel like what I'm trying to do is like there's not a lot of like authority on. It's just I feel like I'm just walking through a jungle kind of. I'm just like, "All right, what's coming next?" Like I think I'm very fueled by like purpose and like a value for free speech and certainly comedy and like fighting for the right to like to do comedy basically and like it's because it's there's so many forces that want to ruin it, so that keeps me going. Yeah, my parents did not really inspire me. Like, yeah, they were funny. We grew up in a very sarcastic household. We were like constantly cutting each other down, not the healthiest but good for forming a sense of humor. And neither parent pushed me towards any kind of performance, or it was the opposite. It was like, "No, you need to have a 9 to 5, you need to have insurance, you have to be stable, don't take risks, literally do, like, the bare minimum, like, obey your boss, be a good employee, like, never speak out." Like, that was the message I got from them because and it's not their fault, they just didn't know anybody who made it any other way, like, a
Well,
lot of
that's very
yeah.
similar to my upbringing too. My parents are really funny, and we have all have the same sense of humor, kind of. But yeah, my dad, even to this day, would be like, "Oh, you have to have surgery? They're gonna fire you." I'm like, "Dad, this isn't the factory. Like we have benefits and like short term disability. Like they can't fire me for this." Like, okay, but like when I was
Mhm.
your age, I went sick with the flu to 12-hour shift. I'm like, okay, Dad, you
Like,
know.
yeah,
Old
we
school
all have
boomers.
worked when we were sick, like, prior to the old pandemic. Like, I would
Yeah,
always go into work sick. Are you kidding me? I'd be like, "No,
right,
I don't wanna hear it from my boss." So,
right. Yeah,
thanks,
nowadays though, they're
Ruben.
like, I've got great PTO, and I guess it's good that they got me to have a 9 to 5 job though, like, I mean, I do have a 9 to 5 job, but I have health insurance, which is cool, and a
That
and
is
a
good.
401k,
I
like,
do miss
okay.
I do miss those things, and I think having 9 to 5 jobs for many years, taught me, like, discipline, like, how bad do you want this side hustle? How bad do you wanna pursue this other career? It's like, well,
Right,
you gotta work hard enough so you're making as much as what you made at your day job, so you have to make as much
right,
on this other thing, and if you don't, you know that you'll be poverty stricken,
right.
so
Plus enough to have health insurance and everything else, right?
yeah.
Yeah,
I think it's good to do both. I know that came from, like, a parental place of, like, your parents just want you to be stable, and, parents don't really necessarily it's not their job to, like, fuel you creatively and, like, make you pursue your passions. I think that's something more for, like, your partner would help you out with or your friends
yeah.
or people in your, like, social sphere.
Well, my parents are still struggling with it. Like my dad,
Mhm.
I don't think he doesn't he's too much of a boomer. Like, but my mom, she's a little more with it. So when I first told her I was streaming on Twitch, she was like, "What is that? I don't know what that is." And she stopped by my stream a couple times. She's like, "Oh, Becca." I was like, talking about whatever. And she's like, "Your shirt's too low cut." And like, whatever. But then
Like,
like the
"Mom,
other
if you're
day,
anti-cleavage, you gotta go."
oh, the other day she really freaked me out because I've kinda told her I'm on OnlyFans, but I don't do nudes, I don't do sex stuff, okay, guys? So, like, I see it scrolling down at the bottom there. Don't get too excited, right? But, so, like, I set a line in the sand, right? Before I started to do fan sites. I also have Fan House, which I'm trying to move towards because it's not NSFW there. And, no, you can leave it, it's fine. But, the problem with the fan house, is that not many people want to go there over OnlyFans, right? Don't too excited. She isn't nude. You know what? I don't do sex stuff because I wanted to draw a line in the sand. I have a daughter. I don't want her seeing her mom doing like borderline porn, right? Um, but my mom, so she was mad at me the other day. I was like, "Why are you mad? Just tell me why you're mad. I can tell you're
Mhm.
mad at me." She's like, I Googled BXBulletTV and I'm like, okay, and she's like, and there were some pictures. And I'm like, okay, mom, like, is it really that much worse than like a bathing suit? Because that's all that's there, right? And she's like, well, there was some sites, nudemodels.com. And I was like, did you click on that site, mom? And she's like, yes. And it asked me to download a link and then it didn't work. I'm like, you just got a fucking computer virus because I don't do nude.
Ah.
I was like, but she wouldn't believe me. Because she saw that like my name, like, if you look up your name, it probably, you have these XXX sites that say like that you're on there, but it's just phishing scams.
Oh, let's see.
So like I had to go look and then I tweeted it out. I was like, bro, I see these websites. Don't click on that.
Like
Because
celebpie.com,
yeah.
obviously Reddit.
Oh yeah.
People
There's some pictures that are sexy, but like,
I'm on a wiki feet page. We all knew that though.
do I have a wiki feed page?
I would be upset if you
Oh, you
didn't.
have one.
Oh, yeah, let's see if you have one.
Okay. I thought
BX.
you were saying I did. I don't think I do.
You should if you post any pictures of your feet.
I'm not that famous yet, I guess.
I don't think you have to be. Well,
I don't really have pictures of my feet.
okay. Maybe
But
you'll get it
yeah,
eventually.
so like I've had a struggle with my mom. She thinks that, I'm being too spicy.
Yeah. Oh, there is a deep fake of me. I was on a podcast and they showed it. It was a picture of me when I was in a bathing suit, and they deep faked it to make me look like I was naked, like,
Oh my
obviously
God.
yeah, it's
That's like my number one fear.
woo! And it's like and I'm looking at it, I'm like, "That doesn't look like me," because it's like, I know what my own naked body looks like, but you can see, like, there's one strap that they left behind from my bathing suit, and it's like
Uh-huh.
it is creepy because it's like, it was a V-neck bathing suit, so all they had to do was, like, fill in, like, pube
Boobies.
area
Oh
and the
my
nips, and I
God.
was just like, "My nips don't look like that. Nice try, guy." I'm like, "I'm flattered, I guess," but I know I felt bad because, like, my boyfriend was the first person to see it, and he's like, "Honestly, for a second, like, I freaked the fuck out." And I was like, "No." That's what I feel. I don't feel
Right.
bad that, like, people are making fakes. It's like, oh, I feel bad that, like, he actually thought that that was real for a minute.
Yeah, and that's a big problem. Like, so I've had girls come to me who've been the victims of this kind of thing. Like I even had one girl who she got a stalker, a woman stalker. And this woman had found a porn star that looked kind of like her because they both have bright blue hair.
That's what someone did with me!
Yeah, and she started sending the links to all of her family and friends, and they started making fake Pornhub accounts with this other girl and saying it was her. So they had this whole fake identity of her that made her look like she was a porn star. If anyone searched her,
Oh,
like, it's
wow.
pretty intense how people can, like, fucking manipulate. That's scary. That is scary, because this poor girl, she had to explain to her family and friends and everybody, like, "This isn't real," and, like, do they believe you? Who knows, right?
Whoa. Yeah, that's why I'm kinda glad that I don't really, like, dabble in any of that kind of
Yeah.
world. But, I mean, I've also posted stuff over the years, like pictures of bathing suits and stuff. Baby
Right.
Josh, love you, Chrissy. Thank you, Josh. Pat Maloney. As women without a twig and berries, would you protest Leah Thompson if you had to swim against her? Abso-fucking-lutely. I talk about this all the time. I was a Division I springboard diver.
Oh,
I was,
nice.
like, top of my league. Um, if I had to dive against a dude, I would have fucking lost it, 'cause on a lot of these championship meets, like, I'd come 3rd or whatever, and it's like, yeah, that woulda knocked you out of medaling, and, especially with divers, like, dudes are, like, they're taller, they're bigger, they're stronger, they can flip faster, they can jump higher, they're just stronger coming off the board, and, like, of course, like, 1,000 times better at swimming. They have longer arms and legs, more aerobic capacity, bigger lungs, like, everything
Right.
is kind of geared in their favor, bigger shoulders, the motor is just bigger. It's very fucked up, and I think it will take more athletes speaking out because it's like, yeah, either you speak out and you look like a transphobe, or you lose your scholarships, you lose your placement in meets, you lose your All-American title, you lose whatever, Olympic trials, like, whatever it is. It will take the ones that are, like, right up there. They're gonna be the ones to not be knocked off that I think have to speak out because the coaches can't do it, NCAA people can't do it, anybody who's sort of like, compromised in a way or afraid of losing their job. Like, yeah, these athletes could lose scholarships, but what do you get? You're gonna lose anyway if you let this dude beat you. So
Right. The cool thing about shooting sports is I don't really ever have to worry about that coming up.
yeah, that's true. That's a big plus. Yeah, that
Because men
topic
definitely
makes
have
me
an
mad.
advantage. I mean, just in terms of hand size, if you're even just looking at just straight hand size, men have an advantage, especially when you're looking at the more athletic type of shooting competitions like shotgun, the big upper bodies, and run and gun where you do obstacles, just upper body strength type of stuff.
Yeah. I think what's a man sport that I can say that I'm transitioning to a man so that I can compete in to get some
Um,
attention? That would be good.
um,
Let's see, maybe men's.
Volleyball.
Okay, maybe. I'm not that fast or tall. I can't really I won't make it
Yeah,
over the net. I'll think of something though.
tennis.
This is from the chat. I'm assuming this is a dude. I was a swimmer. We would have mock competitions with the women's team. It was always a complete blowout, but it was fun for everyone. Yeah, it's fun for you guys because you guys won easily.
Right.
Yes.
But there was probably there was probably one or two cases where a woman did actually beat the man, and then the guy was emasculated for the rest of the season,
But you know what?
right?
I think that's what pushes you to do better. So
Right.
it's like these women, it's like, hey, maybe you need to take, I don't know, get on performance enhancing drugs, or you got to knock this dude out of your competition.
Right.
So it's pretty crazy. Um, okay, this was really good. I always like talking about the Leah Thomas thing because it makes me really
Oh my
pissed.
gosh. I'm so sorry. I've got my kid who's trying to call me, and I'm trying to say I'm just a text real quick.
No, that's
Okay, I'll
okay.
be
We're
right back.
wrapping it up anyway.
No,
This
no,
is
no, 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 it's
perfect.
okay. Okay, but I'll be right there. Sorry. My daughter, she's with her dad for like the next week because of my situation,
Yeah. No,
but
it's all good.
she's been kind of worried about me, you know? I
Oh,
know. She's like at this
oh.
age where she's like, ah, man, she's almost 5. She'll be 5 in a couple months. So she's really quick and learning and like she understands everything now. Whereas a couple years ago she was kind of just like,
Yeah, she's like a little person now.
but now she's just like this little person with her little personality and the things she says sounds just like me and I'm like, quit cussing.
Oh,
But
I love it. You're such a good mom.
I
Becca, thank
try.
you for coming on, especially kind of late
Hey.
notice. Becca will be on this evening's
Yes, so
Simpcast.
excited.
Tune in at 9 p.m. Eastern. I'll be myself, Becca, a few other gals that you know and love.
9 Eastern. Okay, so 8 Central. I'm
9
trying to
Eastern.
okay.
Yes, follow BXBulletTV on Twitter and Instagram at BXBulletTV
Also Twitch and YouTube.
and Twitch
Yeah.
and YouTube. Anything else I
YouTube
missed?
is new to me, so it'd be really cool if you guys could follow me there. I just got monetized on YouTube actually last week.
Yes. Yes, sub
Yeah.
to her YouTube right now.
Yes. So it would mean the world to me. I've been doing some live streams here and there on YouTube too. So,
Awesome, awesome, and
yep.
check out her OnlyFans, which is not for nudes.
But it is still pretty awesome and it's got some sexy pics and some bonus content. It's behind the scenes stuff, gun
Put
stuff.
Yeah, put the bone in bonus. Ooh, thanks, Anna. Great stream. See you ladies tonight. Thanks, Anna. I missed you, girl. Oh, thanks, Anna. All right, this was great, guys. Thank you so much to the chat for your questions and comments. Demajnai, great show, ladies. Looking amazing as usual. Thanks, buddy. You guys slipping in these last minute chats here. Follow BX Bullet TV on YouTube and all the things.
All the
And
things.
we will see you guys later tonight.
Thanks, Chrissy.
Bye.
Bye.